What is going on, everybody? Today I'll be doing my 2020 NFL mock draft first round post combine. Obviously, the combine has just ended and players have really made a name for themselves. So today I'll be doing my first round mock draft. Obviously, these mock drafts, everyone has their own opinion. This is just personally mine opinion. So if you don't agree, let me know in the comment section down below. I always like to talk about my picks. If you have not already, please subscribe. I do 7-round mock drafts very frequently, so you have to subscribe for that. And like the video, as they do take a lot of time to make. So without further ado, let's get right on into the video. So with the first pick, the Bengals select Joe Burrow. Pretty obvious pick here, as Joe Burrow is the #1 quarterback going into the draft. He did choose not to throw during the combine, which I agree with, just so it doesn't hurt his stock, and so he solidifies himself as that #1 overall pick. Same with the #2 overall pick. The Redskins select Chase Young, edge rusher. Now, the Redskins have interviewed Tua Tagovailoa, and there has been some rumors going around that they could pick him. I do not think that's going to happen. I think that is just all blabber to try and get teams interested in maybe trading or, just to get teams interested to see what's going to happen. I do think they're going to take Chase Young with this pick. I think it'll be very smart to take Chase Young, and I think he's a franchise edge rusher there. The Lions, with the 3rd pick, select Isaiah Simmons, who in my opinion had one of the best combines out of all the players. Isaiah Simmons had an insanely fast 40 time with a 4.39, I believe, which is just insane for someone of that size playing the linebacker position, run faster than Saquon Barkley and Christian McCaffrey at the combine. I just think he's a generational talent that you really can't pass on in this draft. I think Isaiah Simmons would be perfect for this Lions team, especially that linebacker position, which needs someone like him there. The Giants, with the 4th pick, select Jeffrey Okudah. Although he did not get the 40 time some of us may assumed, I do think that him being a lockdown back is just such a big need for the Giants team. They need someone like a Jeffrey Okudah, and I think that with Jeffrey Okudah on the team, the Giants could have a solidified secondary. I just think Jeffrey Okudah is definitely a top 4 overall talent in this year's draft, and the Giants would thrive picking a player like Jeffrey Okudah. With the 5th pick, the Dolphins select Tua Tagovailoa. I do believe there's going to be trading going on, although this is not a trading mock draft, so I do have the Dolphins picking Tua at pick 5. I do believe that they could trade up with the Lions at pick 3 and get him just to secure him. Maybe the Chargers could also trade up and snag Tua. But regardless, I'm going to have them going with Tua Tagovailoa. Very, very good quarterback before the injury. Although we still don't know what is going to happen with when he's actually cleared to play. His pro day is going to be very big, but for now, we're just going to have to go off of his old self and say that Tua Tagovailoa is definitely a franchise quarterback for this Dolphins team, which needs one. The Chargers, with the 6th pick, select Justin Herbert, who I think did very, very good in the combine. Did a very good 40 time, very good with his exercises, great accuracy, great downfield passing. I think Justin Herbert's another franchise quarterback, and this Chargers team needs a player like a Justin Herbert. With the 7th pick, the Panthers select Derrick Brown. Derrick Brown, very good run stuffer, big, huge guy, great at getting to the quarterback. He's just another player that I think could add a very huge spark to this Panthers defense, which really needs a spark after Luke Kuechly retired. I think that Derrick Brown is definitely the guy here. I think in most other drafts that aren't QB heavy like this one, he could definitely be top 3, top 2 pick. With the 8th pick, the Cardinals select Mekhi Becton, offensive tackle. Mekhi Becton, a guy that I really like, did very well in the combine. Very big guy, very long arms, great with his feet. I just think the Cardinals need a guy like Mekhi Becton. I think he's very reliable, and Kyler Murray could relax now that he has a big guy like Mekhi Becton, and I definitely think he's worthy of being the first offensive tackle off of this board. With the 9th pick, the Jaguars select Jerry Jeudy, wide receiver. I just think that Jerry Jeudy fits with this team better. Gardner Minshew at quarterback. I think that they take the big guy here, great with his hands. Also did a pretty well 40 time for a guy of his size. I think that with Gardner Minshew now being announced the starting quarterback going forward, I think that Jerry Jeudy is more of that target that bigger target, the guy that you could rely on more. So I think that he would be better on a team like the Jaguars. But CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Jeudy are two phenomenal wide receivers. No matter who they pick here, I think that it's a very solid pick. But I think that they go wide receiver to help Gardner Minshew in the future. With the 10th pick, the Browns select Jedrick Wills. The Browns, another team that needs an offensive tackle. Baker Mayfield is continuously being pressured this past season, and I think that they need a solid guy like a Jedrick Wills. Now, I really like Jedrick Wills. I think that he's perfect for this Browns team. Another very big guy who also pretty solid at run blocking, so Nick Chubb could also benefit a lot off of this pick. I just think they need to go offensive tackle, and Jedrick Wills is their guy here. With the 11th pick, the New York Jets select Tristan Wirfs. Tristan Wirfs is one of the players that I think shined a lot at the Combine. Actually broke 2 records for offensive tackles. I think it was the jump and the vertical, which means he's very athletic, also great at run blocking. Le'Veon Bell is going to need a guy like a Tristan Wirfs, and Sam Darnold is going to need that reliable guy like a Tristan Wirfs. He's young, and I think that he's been pressured way too much on this Jets team. I think they need to attack offensive tackle with this early pick. I think Tristan Wirfs is their guy. With the 12th pick, the Raiders select CeeDee Lamb, wide receiver. Now, CeeDee Lamb, again, Jerry Jeudy, 2 players that could switch in this year's draft. It's just on team preferences. I think that CeeDee Lamb is a player that could thrive on the Raiders team. If Derek Carr is at quarterback, which again we do not know, I think that CeeDee Lamb is more the guy. He's fast, also great with his hands, great at route running. I just think that CeeDee Lamb is the guy for this Raiders team. With the 13th pick, the Colts select Jordan Love, quarterback. Again, I've been stressing this for a while, and I know I'm going to get some hate for this pick, but the Colts need to select a quarterback with this pick. They have said that Jacoby Brissett is not the quarterback of the future, and I think that they need to draft early Jordan Love here, or else he's not going to be around in the later rounds. I think that Jordan Love is a franchise QB if he could learn off the bench. He has all the skill set, all the talent. Kind of reminds me of a Patrick Mahomes in the sense of his throwing ability, great on the run, great accuracy. I just think that Jordan Love is going to have to be the guy for this Colts team, and they can't pass on a quarterback with this pick, or else they're going to regret it in the later rounds. With the 14th pick, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Javon Kinlaw, interior defensive lineman. Very big guy, great at run stuffing. This Tampa Bay Buccaneers team needs a guy like a Javon Kinlaw, who's also good at getting to the quarterback. I just think he's a very good talent at this pick, and I think he's well worth the pick here. I think that he could be a very, very good player in the NFL and carry over what he did in college to the NFL. With the 15th pick, the Broncos select Henry Ruggs, wide receiver. Henry Ruggs, everyone knows him. The player that everyone thought would beat John Ross's 40 time. Unfortunately, it didn't happen, but a 4.27 or 4.28, I can't remember the number off the top of my head, is exceptional. That is insanely fast. One of the top wide receiver times ever at the Combine. And I just think that on his pro day, he's going to do better than that and maybe even beat that record. But regardless, Henry Ruggs, I think he's the new Tyreek Hill. I think he's going to be insanely good in the NFL, and I think that Drew Lock would love a guy like a Henry Ruggs to, play around with like a Tyreek Hill, go for big deep balls, and I just think Henry Ruggs is the jack of all trades at that wide receiver position, and I think he's going to be insanely good in the NFL. The Falcons with the 16th pick select AJ Epineza, edge rusher. Now, I have been sleeping on AJ Epineza a little bit in the past drafts before the combine, and really in the combine, he's just proved why he is that top 16 pick. The Falcons, they need an edge rusher, and I just think AJ Epineza is that guy. He's very quick off the ball, great at getting to that quarterback. And I just think that the combine really proved why he should be that 16th pick and why he should be picked over K'Lavon Chaisson. With the 17th pick, the Cowboys select Kristian Fulton, cornerback. I like Kristian Fulton. He's a very good and reliable cornerback, great at takeaways, did very good in college, and I think he could carry that over to the NFL. The Cowboys, they need help in that secondary, and Kristian Fulton hopefully could be their guy in replacing Byron Jones, who did leave in free agency. With the 18th pick, the Dolphins select K'Lavon Chaisson, edge rusher. Now, K'Lavon Chaisson did fall a few spots, but the first word that comes to mind when I think of K'Lavon Chaisson is versatile, and it's always been versatile. He's very quick, very good getting to the quarterback, very, very good player. I just think he'd work perfectly on this Dolphins team, which really needs that electricity in that position. They obviously haven't had a good defense in a while now, and I think K'Lavon Chaisson could bring that spark that the defense really does need. With the 19th pick, the Raiders select C.J. Henderson, cornerback. I like C.J. Henderson, very good player. He could fall a little bit, but I think that with this 19th pick, the Raiders really need to pick a cornerback, and I think C.J. Henderson is the guy. Again, another cornerback that's great at getting takeaways, great with his hands, also great at not letting too much separation on that wide receiver. I think he's the perfect pick here at pick 19 for this Raiders team. With the 20th pick, the Jaguars select Xavier McKinney, still my number one safety in this year's draft. The Jaguars need that player to help out that secondary, and I think Xavier McKinney could take charge right away. I think he's a perfect fit for this Jacksonville Jaguars team. With the 21st pick, the Eagles select another player who I think shined a lot and really solidified him as a first-round pick, Justin Jefferson. Now, Justin Jefferson, great job in the combine, has exceptional hands, great hops, and he's really just the perfect target for Carson Wentz. Now, Carson Wentz does not have solid wide receivers at all. They were down to like their 5th and 6th string wide receivers in the playoffs, which is just not going to cut it at all. And I think Justin Jefferson could be in the future a very good wide receiver one. He's very solid, and I really like Justin Jefferson as the number one wide receiver for this Eagles team. With the 22nd pick, the Bills select Yetur Gross-Matos, another player who I think shined a lot at the combine, edge rusher. The Bills need an edge rusher. There's no doubt about that. And I think that Yetur Gross-Matos can fill that need perfectly. He's a very good player, very agile, great at getting to the quarterback, very speedy off the corner. And he's just such a great player. I think he'd thrive on this Bills team. With the 23rd pick, the Patriots select Andrew Thomas, offensive tackle. Now, that combine did not go in Andrew Thomas's favor at all. He did not do very well, and I think that that's why he fell to pick 23, unfortunately. I think he would go higher if offensive tackle was the main need for these teams, but the Patriots, I think, are the first team that actually has their number 1 or 2 need the offensive tackle, and I don't think they could pass on Andrew Thomas at pick 23. Very reliable guy, doesn't let up sacks often. And I just think that whoever's the quarterback's going to be, if it's Tom Brady, if it's not Tom Brady, they're going to need a guy like Andrew Thomas, a very big, reliable guy there. The 24th pick, the Saints select Denzel Mims, wide receiver out of Baylor. Denzel Mims stock, another player that's really shined in this year's combine. Now, Denzel Mims, 6'3", got a 4.38 on the 40, which is just exceptional for a guy of his height. Now, I think Denzel Mims has the perfect height at that wide receiver position and also has the speed, and that's what I think the Saints need as their wide receiver too. Now, they already have Michael Thomas, who in my opinion is the number 1 wide receiver, and in many people's opinion is the number 1 wide receiver in the league. And I think Denzel Mims could take a lot of the pressure off of Michael Thomas and really shine at that wide receiver 2 position for the Saints. Now, with the 25th pick, the Vikings select Jeff Gladney, cornerback. Very good cornerback there. The Vikings, their secondary could use some help, and I think Jeff Gladney could be that help there and shine also in that cornerback position, which could use some depth in a Jeff Gladney type player. With the 26th pick, the Dolphins select Josh Jones, offensive tackle, a player that has really risen in everyone's mock draft. Did pretty solid at the combine. I think Josh Jones could really help this weak Dolphins offensive line. The Dolphins, I don't think, could wait too much longer to select an offensive tackle if they do want that big, reliable guy. And I think Josh Jones, even though he's coming out of a small college, not really football known college, I think that Josh Jones could shine on this Dolphins offensive line. With the 27th pick, the Seahawks select Zach Bond, edge rusher. So Zach Bond, probably the best pass coverage edge rusher slash linebacker in college football. Very good in pass coverage. That's probably his best attribute, but also great at rushing the quarterback. Really, we don't know what position he could be at, linebacker or edge rusher. He could play both phenomenally, and I think the Seahawks could use a player that could play both linebacker or edge rusher and could just really be moved around and have some fun with. I think Zach Bond is a very good player who the Seahawks would love on their team. With the 28th pick, the Baltimore Ravens select Patrick Queen, linebacker. I've always loved Patrick Queen out of LSU. He's on the smaller side of a linebacker, but he's pretty quick. And I think that he'll be perfect on this Baltimore Ravens team, which really does need a linebacker. I think Patrick Queen can fill that position and take charge of that defense. With the 29th pick, the Titans select Cesar Ruiz, interior offensive lineman. Cesar Ruiz, a very big center. Obviously, the Titans need an interior offensive lineman. I think Cesar Ruiz could be the guy there. Cesar Ruiz is very talented, did very good in college, and is the first interior offensive lineman coming off of the board. With the 30th pick, the Green Bay Packers select Jalen Reagor, wide receiver. Now, this pick could stir a little bit of controversy. Jalen Reagor didn't do as well on the 40 time as a lot of us may have thought, but I do not think that that will affect his draft stock at all. Jalen Reagor, very fast. I think the Green Bay Packers need a slot wide receiver. Davante Adams can't just keep taking the load. Obviously, this season we've seen that they need a slot wide receiver, and I think Jalen Reagor is that speedy, quick guy who has great hands and is also great down the field. Aaron Rodgers would thrive with a player like Jalen Reagor on their team. With the 31st pick, the San Francisco 49ers select Grant Delpit. He falls to pick 31 somehow, and I think that the San Francisco 49ers can't pass on him with this 31st pick. That safety position is a position of need for that team. I think that Grant Delpit could add some spark to that secondary, which is a pretty big need for this team. And the Super Bowl champions, Kansas City Chiefs, with the 32nd pick, select DeAndre Swift, running back who just secured why I think he's the running back one. Now, Jonathan Taylor, some may say, is the running back one, who had an insanely fast 40 time. I just think DeAndre Swift is better, will be better in the NFL. I think he fits this Kansas City team a lot more, and really I think he'll thrive in the NFL. So yeah, that is it for my first round mock draft. If you guys enjoy, please like the video, and of course subscribe for more mock drafts like these, and I will be doing many 7-round mock drafts in the future. Thank you all for watching, and peace.